and welcome to Lower School News from the Heart. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Blake.
We are broadcasting from the David J. Bloom Broadcasting Studio.
Today is Monday, December 6, 2021. On today's show, we will have a special guest. Our field reporter, Ella, standing by to talk to Mrs. Bodnay, who will be telling us about how math is everywhere. She will also ask some students where they see math.
First, let's tell you about this week in history. In 1492, Christopher Columbus becomes the first European to set foot on the island of Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic. My dad is from Haiti, and my mom is from the Dominican Republic. I learned that Christopher Columbus actually made 4 trips across the Atlantic Ocean in 1492, 1493, 1498, and 1502. That is when he stumbled upon the Americas. Though he did not really discover the so-called New World, millions of people already lived there. But his journey marked the beginning of exploration and colonization through North and South America.
Also, some history this week marks the date in 1955 when E.D. Nixon and Rosa Parks led the Montgomery bus boycott. I remember reading the book about this in first grade. Mrs. Dunn remembers her as a guest speaker here at Sacred Heart. I would have loved to have met her. She is quite the leader of peaceful change. Now let's go to Ella and Mrs. Bodnay.
Blake, I'm here with Mrs. Bodnay to talk about math and how math is everywhere. Mrs. Bodnay, would you tell us about how math is everywhere?
Of course. I was thinking about when Mrs. Dunn mentioned that we might be speaking with each other, and I started to think what I do every day. And I think when I wake up in the morning, I look at my alarm clock and just reading the time. That's math, isn't it? Do you wake up with an alarm clock sometimes too? So you're using math the first thing in the morning. And then when I go out into the kitchen, I look around and there's so many pieces of equipment that have been created using coding and different types of math. Things like my microwave, my coffee maker, and my stove. Driving to school in the morning, think about that. Do you drive in or do you take the bus?
I drive in.
You drive in. So your car had to be designed by engineers who use math for everything. They have to know how to put the computer chips together to make the car run. They use a GPS to get us here using maps. Those are all different things of using math every single day. When we get here in school, we use math all the time. I was thinking about the quilt that's in the math room. Look at that quilt. Can you tell me, is there anything to do with math with that quilt? What do you think, Ella? What do you think? Do you see any shapes there?
Yeah.
So that's geometry. I see some squares and rectangles. And all of the designs that are in there would be aspects of math. Even just planning out how much material to use to make that quilt. You had to add, they had to multiply, and they had to figure out what pattern would be perfect to use. How about our garden? Have you ever been in the garden with Miss Margaret?
Yeah.
Did you plant bulbs at one point with her this year?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Margaret and I, before she planted the bulbs with your class, we came in here and we were trying to figure out how many bulbs we have, how many students we have, where we were going to put all those bulbs. And we actually made a chart and started multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting, just to figure out where to plant those bulbs so we'd have enough for every student in the school to use. I was also thinking, did you make any Christmas cookies, or have you ever made Christmas cookies?
Yes.
Do you think there's math involved in that?
Probably, yes.
What do you think? What type of math would we be using there?
Probably measuring ingredients.
Yeah, so measuring and even weighing them sometimes and saying, is it ounces, is it pounds, how many do I have to make? So using recipes are also part of using math in everyday life. And I was also thinking, when I have all my cookies baked, sometimes I have to figure out how many go in each package. What would that be? What are we doing when we're doing that, when we're splitting things up into equal groups?
Division?
Division. So we're doing division even when we're baking and cooking. I don't know, do you think there are any other ways that we use math in our school?
Maybe you measure like tables and stuff to see how many kids fit.
That's exactly right. Do you remember when we first started in September, we had to make sure we had distancing between people. We actually had to measure all those different tables. That's a great example. And to fit all the kids in each of the classrooms. That's perfect. I love that. I was even thinking at lunchtime, Chef Jonathan, he has to figure out how many students are eating, how many faculty members are eating, what they're eating, and how many of each. And then he has to purchase all those ingredients to make sure that we have enough to eat every single day. So we're using math whenever we're here.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bodnay. Now let's see how some students see math everywhere.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing with us.
Lily, how do you use math everywhere? At the supermarket, where I have to look at the prices to see how much my parents can afford. How do you use everyday math?
When you go to the bank, the person collecting your money counts it.
When you go to grocery shopping, then you have to find out the tax.
When you go shopping and have to take out a certain amount of money.
When you're baking, you have to use a certain amount of flour.
There's shapes everywhere if you think about it, and right now the tent has a lot of triangles and that has to do with geometry.
When you're trying to read a clock to figure out what time it is.
Great. How do you see math everywhere?
I see math in measurements, maybe equations, and in different places.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ella. I never realized how much we use math every day.
I know, I will definitely practice my math skills. The weather this week shows a 50% chance of rain on Monday and Wednesday, with partly cloudy skies Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with temperatures in the 40s.
This week we have 4 birthdays. A big shout out to Tilly, Kaylee, Phoebe, and Delphina. Happy birthday!
That's the news for now. Remember the golden rule. One kind word can change someone's entire day. I'm Blake.
I'm Gabby.
And I'm Ella.
From our hearts to yours.